Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
The Shadow, the mystery man who strikes terror into the very hearts of sharpsters, lawbreakers, and criminals. In these recreation episodes, the Shadow will continue to demonstrate to old and young alike that crime does not pay. Lamont Cranston, a man of wealth, a student of science, and master of other people's minds, devotes his life to righting wrongs, solving crimes, protecting the innocent, and punishing the guilty. Using advanced methods that may ultimately become available to all law enforcement agencies, Cranston is known to the underworld as the Shadow. Never seen, only heard, as haunting to superstitious minds as a ghost, as inevitable as a guilty conscience. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person to know who the invisible voice belongs to. Tonight's drama, The Nightmare Combination. In today's drama, originally aired on September 19th, 1954, The Nightmare Combination, a locksmith answers a strange request to open a safe late at night, only to learn he's opened a nightmare. It will begin in just a moment. But first, a quick word from the creator, Mr. Spencer Mack.
Thank you, Mr. Rowett. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to quickly apologize for not being able to originally upload this episode on July 31st. I'm afraid to say due to some major technical errors, I had to postpone this episode until the problem was resolved. So continuing now, we shall begin our monthly episodes, as August will be The Nightmare Combination, and September will be Murder Before the Storm, originally aired on October 10th, 1954. And now, The Nightmare Combination.
On a dark, deserted street near the loading docks on the waterfront, the fog makes the crumbling warehouses and empty shipping offices look like the skeleton bones of a ghost town. All the windows are dark, except those in the offices of the Triple J Trucking Company. There, a man wearing thick-lensed glasses is working at a broken-down desk piled high with shipping manifests, while a girl behind him clacks away at a battered typewriter.
It's almost 9 o'clock, Marna. You sure this locksmith's gonna show? Maybe he's suspicious about something.
He was, Joe. But when I told him Lamont Cranston suggested you call him, Cranston's name worked like magic.
What if he calls Cranston to check?
Cranston's in Waterford giving a talk on criminology. He couldn't possibly get back home by midnight.
All right. So where's the locksmith? We're running out of time.
He'll be here any minute now.
Oh, sure.
Shh! That must be him.
All right, start typing while I get the door.
Mr. Jehoviac, I'm Lou, the locksmith.
Come on in.
Your secretary called about some trouble with the safe.
Trouble? I've got my whole morning payroll in it, and I forgot the combination.
That safe in the corner?
Wait a second. How do I know I can trust you?
Trust me? If your secretary hadn't told him Mr. Cranston...
Mr. Jehoviac is worried because this never happened before. That's why we called Mr. Cranston, and he recommended you. I'm Miss Hildebrand.
Oh. And you don't know the combination either.
I never let anybody at that safe but me.
Then you should have written the combination down someplace.
Well, son, you don't have to rub it in. Can't blame me for being careful.
At this time of night, I'm the guy who should be careful. If you weren't a friend of Mr. Cranston...
If you're okay with Cranston, you're okay with me. Go ahead and get that pesky thing open.
Pretty crusty guy, isn't he?
He's really not himself tonight, Lou. He's not himself at all.
Hello?
Lamont, this is Margot. I've been trying to reach you for an hour.
I just got back from Waterford a few minutes ago.
I'm over at Lou the locksmith shop. One of my friends lost the keys to her car. She has to leave on a trip, and she asked me for help.
Well, who's the man for that kind of job?
If only I could find him.
Find him? Why, he's open all day and night, and he lives behind his shop.
I know. I phoned him earlier this evening. He told me to come here and wait, and he said he was going to open a safe for a friend of yours, a Mr. Jehoviac. He said he wouldn't be long.
Did you say Jehoviac? I don't know anybody by that name, Margot.
But the locksmith said you told Jehoviac to call him.
I see. Margot, you better call another locksmith to help your friend.
Do you think anything's wrong?
I don't know, but wait down there. I'll join you as soon as I can. And we'll find out.
You're just like Jimmy Valentine, Lou. Do you sandpaper your fingers, too?
This isn't the movies, Miss Hillbrand. I only use sandpaper to clean a safe's dial when it's dirty.
Really? Then what do you use?
Just the old noodle. One look at your boss's face told me plenty.
Meaning what?
His eyes are bad. The odds are pretty great that he picked multiples of 10, which are printed on the dial, because he has trouble seeing the lines in between.
Amazing. Mr. Cranston said you were a whiz.
Here's another thing. The worn spot in the dial.
What about it?
It's a thumb spot, my clue to the opening number.
I'm mystified. What's that?
I'll show you. It takes 4 numbers to open this safe. For the first 3 numbers, the average guy turns the dial fast with his fingertips. Like this. Let's say they were left. 30, right. 90, left. 40. Now, the last number. The one that opens the safe. That's important.
Because if the guy misses, he has to start all over again.
Right. You grab the knob firmly with your thumb right on the face of the dial. So you can move it slowly to line up the number you want with the pointer. Like this. See? Your right hand stops with your thumb about 15 points to the left of your last number.
I see. And on an old safe like this, the thumb rubs enough paint off the dial to give you a guide mark.
Yes, the guide to the opening number. Simple, isn't it?
Well, I'd better check Mr. Jehoviac to see if he needs any help. Joe, don't be so jittery.
I changed my mind, Marna. That locksmith isn't going out of here alive.
Don't be a fool. Put that gun away. We'll be on the boat and out of the country before anything could happen.
How long is that guy gonna take?
I can't rush him, Joe. Just relax, and we'll be all right.
I'm telling you. Jake will be back in an hour. Then I'll have to kill him too.
You're not killing anybody. If we do it my way, we get everything we want without any risk.
What do you call this?
I call it smart. No safe blowing, no cops, and by the time Jake finds out, we're out of his reach.
Well, I'm not, so...
Give me the gun, Joe. I don't trust you with it.
All right, but keep it in your purse, just in case.
Remember, Joe, stay in character, and we'll be fine.
Go back in there and see what's what.
All right. Just don't lose your head.
Back to watch, Miss Hillbrand?
How's it going, Lou?
Could be better. Could be worse. This might be it.
Good.
Here goes. Left, 30. Right, 40. Left, 20. Now, I put my right thumb on the worn spot in the dial. And this should be the opening number.
Anything wrong, Lou?
I don't know.
Listen, locksmith. I thought you knew your business. You've been playing with that safe long enough.
Don't you have to get those manifests ready, Mr. Jehoviac?
Wait. Maybe you can help me.
How?
Are you right or left-handed?
What's that got to do with you?
Nothing. Forget it. I just need that last number.
Just a little more time, Mr. Jehoviac.
All right, but I'm staying here to watch.
This ought to do it. Let's see. Left 30. Right 40. Left 20.
Come on.
You want to bet I get this last number?
Why should you think you'll get it this time?
I've been using my right hand. Maybe my left is luckier.
Stop with the betting and start with the dial.
Now, instead of my right thumb, I put my left thumb on the worn spot and bring it up to here like this.
You did it. The safe is open.
What's a whistle for, locksmith?
That's some payroll. That safe is stuffed full of money.
Business has been very good. How much do we owe you?
$25 might ought to cover my time.
Okay, toss me one of those packets.
There's nothing smaller than 20s, Mr. Jehoviac.
So, toss me some. Thanks. Here's 2 20s. Keep the change for your trouble.
Thank you very much. Now, if you'll just sign this order, I'll be...
I'll sign it.
Sorry. The law says the safe owner must sign.
Give me the book. Such a suspicious world this is. You'd think...
Joe?
Such a suspicious world.
Thank you. Goodbye.
You crazy fool. Why did you sign that?
Why not? I can imitate Jake's writing. It worked. Just like you said.
Don't you understand? Jake's left-handed. You're right-handed.
So what?
So I think the locksmith's suspicious, that's what.
You and your bright ideas. Why didn't you let me plug him like I wanted to?
I'm still not sure he noticed.
All right, Marna. From now on, I take over. We'll put the dough in my money belt and get out of here before Jake gets back.
Then what?
The locksmith's going back to his shop, isn't he? Well, we'll get there and get rid of him before he talks to Cranston or gets the cops.
Lou, it's a good thing we waited for you here at your shop.
You're sure you don't know this Jehoviac?
Positive.
The guy said you referred him to me. His secretary was there. It seems so legitimate.
But now you're sure something's wrong?
Margot, that safe was owned by a left-handed man. I could tell by the thumbprint on the dial. See, that's what confused me. That guy, the one who was there, was right-handed.
That still doesn't mean you helped commit a robbery.
What do you call opening a safe full of money for a bunch of thieves?
I'm going to have to check on your story, Lou.
Mr. Cranston, please don't blow the whistle on me.
I won't mention your name. Yet.
Who you calling?
Commissioner Weston at headquarters to see if there's any safe robberies that have been reported in the last hour.
There are just 3 people in the shop, Joe. Cranston, Lou, the locksmith, and Margot Lane.
Good. I'll go in there and get rid of all 3 of them at once.
Oh, no, you don't. Cranston's calling someone on the phone. Can't you see?
So what?
So what if it's the cops? We'll wait and see what their next move is.
Marna, listen to me. This is a strictly hit-and-run job.
Yeah, hit them now and run from the cops. We'd never get out of town, much less the country.
All right. But I'm going to tail them when they leave, just to make sure.
We will return to the shadow in just a moment. But first, motorist, look out when it's dark out. Records show that dusk to dawn hours only have 1/3 of the traffic, but 2/3 of the fatal accidents. So, heed such nighttime precautions as these. Lower your headlight beams when meeting another vehicle, whether or not the other driver dims his lights. It's safer for you if one driver can see, even if it's the other guy. Drive at such a speed that you'll be able to stop within the distance your headlight beam reaches. Don't be in the dark about safety. In the dead of night, be alive, be bright, and help cut night traffic accidents down. And now, back to the Shadow. Marna and Joe, the 2 people for whom Lou the locksmith opened a safe full of money at the Triple J trucking office, are secretly watching Lou's shop from their car. Inside, Lamont Cranston has just finished talking on the phone to Commissioner Weston.
What did the commissioner say, Lamont?
No safe robbery has been reported as yet, Margot.
Mr. Cranston, I'm beginning to think I didn't open a safe. I opened a nightmare.
You're sure the real owner of the safe is left-handed?
I can't read dials. I know what I saw. I'll lose my license. I'll probably go to jail.
And you're positive you told us everything that happened?
Everything.
Let's see. You opened up the safe, Jehoviac signed your book with his right hand, and you came straight back here.
Where else could I go? Besides, I knew Margot was waiting.
You should have gone to the nearest police station and reported it.
Listen, I did 20 rotten months at a prison camp once. If the cops threw me behind bars just for a few hours, I'll flip my lid!
Isn't there some little detail you might have forgotten?
No, I've told you everything that happened.
Lou, one more thing. Did the man who said he was a safe owner take down the combination?
No, and he never asked for it.
Lamont, doesn't that prove something?
Yes. It proves that we better all go back there and find out why a man who loses a combination in the safe isn't interested in finding out what it is.
Pull up, Joe. Cranston's car is stopping in front of the trucking office.
You and your clever ideas, Marna. I could have clobbered them in the locksmith's shop, but you made me lose my chance.
Lose your chance for what? The electric chair? If we only knew who they phoned back there.
Maybe they talked to Jake. Maybe they know.
Could be.
Maybe Jake will find out before we get away.
Who's going to tell him?
The locksmith. Jake could make him identify us.
You're right. I suppose we've got to get rid of him.
Now you're making sense. We'll just sit tight and follow them until he leaves Cranston and Margot Lane. Then that locksmith's job will be making keys for St. Peter's Gate.
Triple J Trucking. This is the place.
Somebody's still inside.
Yeah, what do you want?
We're looking for Mr. Jehoviac.
I'm Jehoviac.
Oh no!
How long have you been here tonight?
What's it to you? You a cop? This visit official?
It will be official if I don't get any straight answers.
Come on in. Well, what's on your mind?
Plenty. Where's the secretary, Miss Hillbrand?
I got no secretary.
Mr. Cranston, this man is not Mr. Jehoviac.
Take it easy, Lou.
You must be sick, son. I've been Jack Jehoviac all my life.
Listen, I opened your safe a few hours ago and it was full of money.
Well, what about it, Mr. Jehoviac?
I'll tell you what about it. That safe's got nothing in it but dust. Where would a guy like me get a safe full of money?
That's a very good question.
I was here all night long and nobody opened that safe.
But Lou says he did.
Then you better get him to a doctor real quick.
Then how would I know the combination to your safe?
You don't. Nobody knows it but me.
You want to bet?
Why don't you get out of here?
We will, but first I'd like to try an experiment.
All right. But I don't want no trouble.
You won't have any. Lou, you say you opened the safe a few hours ago, and you still remember the combination?
Sure. It's left.
Hold it. Now, Mr. Jehoviac, here's some paper and pencil. Take it over to your desk.
Okay.
Lou, you go over to the safe.
What's all this about, Lamont?
You'll see. Now, Mr. Jehoviac, you write down the numbers of the safe's combination on that piece of paper so Lou doesn't see what you're writing.
Lamont, Jehoviac's writing with his left hand.
All right. I'm finished.
Margot, take the paper from Mr. Jehoviac and check the numbers against Lou's.
I'm ready.
All right, Lou. Call out the numbers as you open the safe.
Left 30, right 40, left 20, and right to 50.
He's right, Lamont.
There it is. Hey,
What's the matter?
this safe. It's empty.
You finished with your little game? You satisfied?
I'm satisfied, all right. Come on, Lou. Margot.
Hey, just one thing before you go.
Well, Mr. Jehoviac?
How did this guy dream up the combination of my safe?
I don't know, but it must have been some nightmare.
I'm sorry I got you two involved. Maybe I better go out and turn myself in to the first cop I see.
On what charge, Lou?
I don't know, Mr. Cranston. Robbery, unlawful entry.
But the police will check your story with Jehoviac, and he'll tell them you're crazy.
So I'm crazy.
Margot and I believe your story.
Huh?
It's some tale, but it's as real as the tale that's following us right now. Look out the rear window.
Well, I'll be.
You'll be a dead pigeon if you don't do exactly as I say. Hang on, I'm gonna lose that car.
How do you like that? Cranston got away from me.
What now, mastermind?
Marna, I'm going back to Jake and settle him for good. Like I should have done instead of listening to you.
But the locksmith can identify us.
Not when I get through with him.
Want me to wait for him at his shop?
Nah, he's too smart to go back there. Maybe they'll head for Cranston's place.
Yeah, and if you can drive fast enough, they'll have a surprise waiting for them. Me and my gun.
That's better. I think we lost them.
I think we lost my stomach on that last turn, too.
Lou, you'd have to hide someplace where you can be safe. I think I can get Commissioner Weston to.
I told you, I don't want any part of jail.
All right, go to my apartment. Here's the key. Lock yourself in, and don't open the door for anyone but Margot and me.
But why?
Because Jake Jehoviac might try to force you to identify the people who pose as the owners of the safe.
Sounds pretty bad.
Here's something worse. The fake Jehoviac wants you for another reason. If I'm right, he wants to kill you and shut you up.
Come in, Lou.
Miss Hillbrand!
Come all the way in.
Well, what are you doing here?
Waiting for you.
How'd you get in Mr. Cranston's apartment?
The skeleton key is a professional secret we share in common. Telling Cranston was a big mistake, Lou.
My mistake was believing in you in the first place.
It can be rectified.
Lamont Cranston knows enough to stop you.
He can be rectified, too. With this.
Is that the gun you're pointing at me? Your rectifier?
If you don't want to find out the hard way, sit down with your hands placed carefully on your knees. That's a good boy.
Now what?
We wait.
What for?
Lamont Cranston and Margot Lane. Like you said, they know as much as you do.
What makes you so sure they're coming back?
Cranston lives here. Besides, they'll want to know how you're doing. And if you're nice and quiet, you might still be alive to tell them.
Before we return to the shadow, remember to like this episode, our Facebook page, and subscribe for more episodes. Lou the locksmith is trapped in Lamont Cranston's apartment by Marna, the woman who posed as the fake safe owner's secretary. Meanwhile, Cranston and Margot Lane have driven to the daily paper building, where they're on their way to the newspaper morgue.
What do you think of Lou's story now, Lamont?
Let's assume everything he said is true, Margot.
About the money, too?
Yes, someone else knew the safe was stuffed with cash, and with the woman posing as a secretary and using my name as a reference, he fooled Lou into thinking the safe opening job was legitimate.
Then why didn't the real Jehoviac report the robbery?
And that's what we're here to find out.
Then you hope to find the key to the whole story in the newspaper files?
Yes, right here in the back issues, Margot. Start checking every back of the news stories involving unsolved robberies, the ones that netted the thieves a lot of money. I'll join you as soon as I can as I call my apartment to check on Lou.
Stay away from that phone, Lou. I don't want to shoot you yet.
But Mr. Cranston knows I'm here. I better answer.
That's why you'd better not. The sooner he knows something's wrong, the sooner he'll come back here.
What's the hurry?
I've got a date with a boat I don't want to miss. Now, just sit back and relax and enjoy some of that coffee I was good enough to make for you.
Robberies, unsolved, 1964.
Find anything yet, Margot?
Not yet, Lamont. Lou still doesn't answer the phone.
No.
Something must be wrong.
Or somebody wants us to think so.
Shouldn't we go back and see?
Not yet. We're racing against time, Margot. We can't help Lou unless we find out what the real story is.
I've gone through every newspaper for the past 12. Lamont, look at this story.
Daring daylight payroll theft. $100,000 loot vanishes without trace.
And here's the list of the serial numbers on the stolen money.
Good. Check the serial numbers on the $20 bill Lou got paid with from the safe against the serial numbers on that list.
Let's see. Here they are. Both of them.
That's the reason the money's been in the safe all this time. It's too hot to spend.
What do we do now?
We go right back to the trucking office to see if we can get Jehoviac to tell us who the hijackers are.
Nobody answers, Lamont.
I was afraid of that. Try the door.
It's open. Let's go in. Lamont! That man lying on the floor.
Stay where you are, Margot.
Is he dead?
Yes. Looks like he was strangled with an empty money belt.
Is it Mr. Jehoviac?
No, Margot. This must be the man who poses him. If he had the money in that belt, it's gone now.
How terrible.
Are you alright?
I guess so.
It's time we get to the bottom of this. Margot, I'm going to have to leave you here all alone. Call Commissioner Weston and tell him the story and wait here until he arrives. But don't use the phone until I leave.
But what if the killer is still around?
You'll be safe, Margot. Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, I understand, Lamont.
Goodbye, Margot. Make a call to the Commissioner now. By the way, be sure to tell Commissioner Weston that Lou didn't answer when I phoned my apartment. That fake secretary must have trapped him there.
Put that phone down, Miss Lane.
Mr. Jehoviac!
I said, put that phone down!
Let go of me!
Don't make me use this gun.
You were here all the time.
You were right, Miss Lane. The killer is still around.
Another cup while we wait, Lou?
This might come as quite a blow. but you make lousy coffee.
You're really making my trigger finger itch.
I just changed my mind. The coffee is wonderful.
Not bad. I'll have to use this technique on Joe.
Who's Joe?
My husband. You met him earlier this evening, remember? I told you he wasn't himself.
Yeah. You mean he was pretending to be Jehoviac. Very funny.
Stick around for the wind-up, Lou. It'll be killing.
What? What have you got against me? I opened that lousy safe. You got the money. What?
You knew your business too well. You got wise.
Yeah, the thumbprint. I had to be a smart guy and tell you what a genius I was.
When we saw you were suspicious, we figured you'd go back to Jehoviac, and he'd force you to identify us. Then we'd never be able to get away.
What makes you think you could get away now?
It's simple. We stole the money from a thief. That $100,000 was the loot from a job the 3 Jehoviacs pulled.
There's more than one Jehoviac?
Triple J Trucking. 3 brothers, Joe, Jerry, and Jake. Jerry got killed in the getaway when they lifted the payroll. Jake has been keeping the money in his safe, while Joe, my husband, was hiding out on the coast with me.
I'm afraid to ask you why you're telling me this.
Isn't it obvious? When we're finished, neither you, Cranston, nor Margot Lane will be able to tell anyone else.
What about good old brother Jake?
Joe's raising Cain with him as soon as he's able. Get it? Ask who it is, Lou.
Who is it?
Margot Lane!
Let her in, and no funny business.
If only you didn't have that gun.
Well, I have it. Now get going. Open the door.
I couldn't help it. Miss Lane, it's a trap.
You're twice as right as you think you are.
Come on in, Miss Lane, with your hands up.
Mind if I join you too, Marna?
Let go of me.
Jake, why you...
Don't try using the gun, Marna. The bullets will have to go through Miss Lane to get to me.
Pretty clever, aren't you?
Now, ain't this just perfect? All of you in one big score.
You haven't got Lamont Cranston.
When he comes home, I'll be waiting.
You forgot somebody, Jake. Your brother.
Joe changed his mind, Marna. The money's back in the safe.
You're crazy. We're going to spend that money in Europe, where they're not particular about hot serial numbers.
Well, Joe and I had a little talk about that. Then, all of a sudden, he stopped talking. He saw how empty his money belt was, and he got all choked up.
You killed him. You killed your own brother.
Yeah, before he got a chance to kill me. Well, folks, now it's your turn. Anybody volunteer to go first? You think that's funny, Locksmith? You find death a laughing matter?
Who's laughing, Jehoviac?
You are. I just heard you.
That wasn't Lou Jehoviac.
What? I don't see anybody else in this room.
Justice is something you can't see either, and you can't escape justice.
Who are you?
The Shadow.
You can't stop me, Shadow. This gun is my justice.
Your gun won't help you now, Jehoviac.
Oh, no? All right, Marna. You get the first bullet.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, my arm.
Drop your gun.
Now that you've dropped your gun, Jake, I can use mine. Stand back, all of you.
That's what you think.
Let go of me, Lou.
Give me that rectifier. That's better.
I've got both the guns, Lou.
Margot, Lou. Oh, I see you two have the situation well in hand.
Sure, Mr. Cranston. Thanks to the Shadow.
I guess Lou really learned something from his experience with the Jehoviacs, Lamont.
Yes, Margot. The job of the police is to protect honest civilians, not to throw them in jail. Lou had made an honest mistake, so he had nothing to fear from the law.
And everything to gain. It was wonderful of you to see that he got the reward money.
Let's hope he uses it for psychiatric treatment to cure himself from that phobia about getting locked up.
Speaking of fear, I must admit I was really frightened when you made it look like you were leaving me alone in Jehoviac's office.
I knew Jehoviac was still around because his brother's body was still warm. We must have gotten there just before he had a chance to get away, so he hid in the back room.
I see. So you figured he'd hear you instruct me as to what I should tell Commissioner Weston on the phone. And you knew that information would lead Jehoviac right to your apartment in an attempt to get Marna.
Right. He didn't know where she was until then, and of course, he wanted to kill her too.
He must have been afraid to jump both you and me. But when you walked out of the door of that office...
Lamont Cranston walked out of that door, but the shadow remained to make sure you were safe, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
This story is copyrighted by Street and Smith Publications Incorporated. The characters, names, places, and plot fictitious. Any similarities to anyone living or dead are purely coincidental. Again, next time, the shadow will demonstrate that
The weight of crime bears its bitter fruit, for crime does not pay. The shadow knows.